The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined. Aren't those words sweet like honey to your ears tonight? The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. Have you walked in darkness this year? What has your path through the darkness looked like, tasted like? Maybe it's looked like months of working from home while trying to help your young children navigate online school. Maybe it's looked like losing your job, getting furloughed, trying to navigate your way through the complex unemployment system. Maybe the darkness you have walked in has looked like the constricting hand of grief, tugging at your shirt collar and squeezing your heart until you don't know who you are anymore. Maybe you've walked through the darkness of depression. Maybe you're watching this at home alone and the house is just too quiet. Maybe you keep the TV on just to have some sound fill up the empty rooms. Maybe a loved one has died and you have not been given the gift of sitting next to them as they take their final breath because of travel restrictions. Maybe your darkness has looked like flights not taken. Maybe it tastes like regret, like things unsaid. The people who walked in darkness have seen a great light. On them, light has shined. Individually, we have walked through darkness this year. We've walked through a path of uncertainty, a fear of what may come, and of our lives being turned upside down. We've also walked through darkness in community. As a church community, we have lost community members who have moved, who have declined in health, and who have died. And we've lost those beloved people without having the chance to say goodbye with the rituals that help us make sense of that loss. As a church community, we've walked through the darkness of financial insecurity. Like so many other faith communities, preschools, small businesses, nonprofits, we have felt that panicked feeling of maybe we won't make it another 90 years. Maybe our school won't survive. Maybe we can't be the community we are if we can't be together in person. And as a nation, we have walked through immense clouds of darkness. We woke up one day in the spring and realized that we were sick, or that soon we would be sick. Sick with a disease that has taken 329,000 human lives in our country alone. We have also woken up and realized that our nation is sick with racism, sick with division. We have watched and we have participated in the greatest othering we've ever seen. Not only do we disagree with each other now on political or social systems, but we disagree on basic facts. Not only do we disagree with each other, we are now enemies who can't sit across the dinner table from each other. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them light has shined. Well, we come to church on Christmas Eve to reconnect with something, I think. Maybe it's familiar songs that remind us of being young, remind us of our families. Maybe we come to reconnect with a feeling of comfort and certainty. We've heard the story of Jesus' birth before, and we know it will sound the same again tonight. We know there will be angels and shepherds. And we come back to Christmas traditions, lit up trees, wrapped packages, eggnog, Frosty the Snowman, because we need them. Especially tonight, we need them. We are living in a land of deep darkness as a human family right now. And many of us tonight are walking through painfully dark paths in our own individual lives as well. Especially now, something in us seems to know that we need to be reconnected to the light. We're like moths, frantically seeking out that porch light that cuts the darkness around it. What is this light that Isaiah is talking about? What exactly is the light that we feel this need to reconnect with at Christmas? That bright feeling when we turn off the lights, hold our candles, and sing Silent Night. What is that light? I think that light that we need is hope. I think that light is connection and the reminder that we are still human. We are still here. We still belong to each other. And somehow, this now familiar story of a baby born in Bethlehem and these carols and those traditions we practice at home this Christmas, they bring us a small glimpse of that light in the darkness of our lives. You know, I have always been such a hopeful, optimistic person. I trust people easily. I can't help almost but look on the bright side. But these past 10 months, I have been walking my own path of darkness in my own life, alongside our church family, and alongside the wider human family. I am still struggling to find hope, still struggling to believe that we will get to a point of healing in our nation. And this year, tonight, right now, just this word hope, it feels slippery, elusive, like something you can almost see if the light catches it, but you can't hold on to it. And I need real, substantial, tangible hope tonight. I need hope I can taste, hope I can bite into and chew and swallow, hope that will become part of me. Well, that kind of hope is what the now familiar but truly shocking story of Christmas offers us tonight. Tangible, real, chewy hope. God, you see, did the unthinkable. God entered into human darkness and suffering by being born a child like any other human being. A child born into poverty. A child born to an unmarried teenage girl of maybe 14. A child who would grow up to see other people not as separate from himself, but as part of his own being. A child who would grow to be a person who would touch what the world told him not to touch, who would put his hand on diseased skin, who would sit at a table and pass bread to a prostitute, a con artist, an addict. This was a child who grew up to sit at a table with an intimate friend who had betrayed him to his executioners, and who would hold out bread to that same friend and say, "Take this bread and eat it. This bread is my body. I'm giving my body for you so that you can have hope. Hope that isn't slippery and elusive. Hope that can be placed right on your tongue. Hope that you can taste and chew and swallow, and that will change you." Tonight, we need hope like we need food. And did you know that the city where Jesus was born, Bethlehem, O little town of Bethlehem, that the name Bethlehem means house of bread? Did you know that Jesus, the bread of life, was born in the house of bread? You might know that Jesus, the bread of life, first slept in a manger. But did you know that a manger is not just a bundle of hay? A manger is a feeding trough. Did you know that Jesus, who would give himself as food for the whole world, was first laid in the place where food is found? This Christmas Eve, I am most struck by the gentleness, the radical gentleness of the Christmas story. In our world where power is measured by wealth and strength and influence, I often question how healing can ever come to us as individuals, as communities, as a human family. We are so obsessed with power. I feel powerless to change and right injustices. I often feel powerless to offer a message of hope. And lately I have felt powerless sometimes to make it through another day, far away from people I love. Well, the story of the birth of Jesus is the ultimate promise that true power is not found in wealth or strength or influence. True power is in a tiny newborn reaching out to his mother with cries of hunger. True power is in that vulnerable connection, and in every vulnerable connection we have with one another. And there's nothing more radical than that. True power is Jesus' mother, Mary, who refused to stay small and silent. She knew she would face scorn and judgment as an unmarried pregnant woman. She summoned all her power to bring new life into the world. True power is in Jesus' father, Joseph, who trusted a dream, a message from God, instead of the expectations of the culture he lived in. This power found not in strength, but in gentleness. This is the hope we are all longing to reach out and grab and chew on tonight. When we need hope, but we can't find it, we can look to Mary, to Joseph, to Jesus. They remind us that real power is in taking the radical risk of gentleness. Gentleness with ourselves, with each other. Real power, they will remind us, is in vulnerability and in powerlessness. The story of Christmas is the ultimate story of the risk of gentleness. And as Christians, we take the risk of gentleness in our lives every day. The hope we're longing for today is that Jesus showed us how to live in this world in a different way. Jesus showed us that hope is not some ethereal, smoky thing, some nice idea, but that hope is something we practice. Hope is something Jesus practiced every time he turned to love and inclusion where the world around him would turn to separation. Jesus practiced hope every time he saw the true, vulnerable, beautiful humanity in each person and broke social codes to see it and to celebrate it. And we can practice real and tangible hope every day as Christians. Every time we choose listening over fear. Every time we choose slowing down instead of speeding past and ignoring. Every time we choose the health of our community. The hope of the Christmas story, that the Christmas story shows us, is radical, real, tangible, meaty hope. Hope that always builds community, always includes, always works for justice, and always has space to grow. So take a bite of this Christmas hope tonight. Let it sustain you in your darkness. Know that for those who have lived in a land of deep darkness, on them the light of Christ has shined.